Frank Castle, better known as the Punisher, is one of the most ruthless vigilantes in all of Marvel. And today, we're going to be dropping him into the Gotham City landscape with one mission: end all crime. And the question is, could he actually pull it off? Let's dive in and find out. So, alright, let's get things firstly settled out, and let's set the ground rules. For this scenario, Batman, the Bat Family, and anybody related to that landscape are completely absent from Gotham. Whether they're on their own mission in space or just not present in Gotham for whatever reason, they are not there. There's no Bruce, there's no Nightwing, no Oracle, or whatever, just the Punisher versus Gotham City. Frank comes in with his standard arsenal or arena of tools that he normally has. Pistols, shotguns, rifles, explosives, and of course his military tactics and things like that. He'll have access to anything that he will normally be able to use, so it's not going to be like, oh, anything that he can carry exactly on his person. Just anything that he normally has on his arsenal in general. And Gotham, you can usually get any weapon that you need, so it's not going to be hard for him to find it if he doesn't have it. He doesn't have Wayne level tech. He doesn't have somebody or something arguably more dangerous or whatever. And he has obviously absolutely no moral restraints when it comes to pulling the trigger and taking these villains or any of the criminals in Gotham out for the count for good. That is going to be a very, very big portion of this video. But yeah, so let's continue. So firstly, how does Punisher handle Gotham street level villains? Obviously and honestly, he thrives. The muggers, carjackers, gangbangers, or whatever, these guys are absolutely finished. Punisher doesn't do these catch and release things like Batman does. He does a quick little point and shoot. Within weeks, crime rates at the street level would basically just plummet because Gotham's underworld would really take a quick realization that this is not Batman. There are no broken bones and trips to Blackgate. There are no completely just shattering your entire body and making you breathe through a straw just to make you wish you were dead. This is only ending in a body bag for any criminals that are awaiting his judgment. But obviously, as we all know, Gotham isn't just for common thugs. It has got some of the most insane and dangerous villains in comic book history just in that area because Gotham in general is just basically cursed. There is no other way around it. It is just basically cursed, and I don't understand anybody who chooses to live in Gotham. Yes, the rent might be nice, but nothing's worth that annoyance. But yeah, without that tangent and rant or whatever, let's see and let me explain how I think Frank stacks up against at least some of them. Starting off with the lower tier rogues, villains like Kite Man, Calendar Man, Condiment King, and things around that level. And let's be real here, Punisher isn't going to be wasting his time throwing them into Arkham. They will be gone. One bad move, one threat. Frank pulls the trigger, gets them gone instantaneously, and doesn't have to worry about them coming back and annoying him later on. Gotham's roster of C-listers basically drops instantaneously once he basically has enough time to get rid of them all one by one. And I am doing it like this, obviously, for the sheer reason of, one, if I was just to put Punisher down in Gotham City, then let him basically just wreak havoc and only give him a specific time frame, it would be a lot more of a situation where he will most assuredly get got very, very quickly. And I'm not saying that he can't handle his own or whatever, but he would be more likely to get jumped if he doesn't have access to being able to do things the way that he likes to do things. Actually using his tactical mind to his advantage. And while his tactical mind might not be on Batman level, he is still very good military-wise and thinking-wise in terms of getting things done. So, hence why we're doing it like this. But yeah, continuing on, those C-listers, gone, as I was saying. And when we're moving on to the more mid-tier villains like guys like Black Mask, Penguin, Two-Face, Professor Pig, and others around that area, Normally, these are like crime bosses or twisted serial killers who thrive in Gotham's corrupt system, but Punisher isn't a part of that system. He bypasses it. No lawyers, no judges, no bribes, no nothing like that. But he's basically just going to continue on the way that he likes to go. Penguin might try to buy him off. That won't work. Punisher does not negotiate with crime whatsoever. Professor Pig, Frank would just drop him instantly. Two-Face, a coin flip doesn't matter when Frank has already pulled the trigger, and these guys are really just on borrowed time as soon as Punisher enters the city because they all commit so many crimes and things like that that it really would just make sense for him to want to take him out, especially since Penguin's kind of like Fisk in terms of the power that he has in Gotham, along with the fact that Penguin and Kingpin both share somewhat similar personalities, so Frank would be a lot more eager to take out somebody like the Penguin just for that singular reason. But with those midfielders out of the way, we can finally talk about the heavy hitters for the criminal organizations or just criminal element in the Gotham City landscape. And there is going to be one more right after this. This is going to be the heaviest hitter, then the most annoying that Frank would have to deal with, but we'll get to that. Because when we get to the heavy hitters, we start off with somebody like Bane. Now, obviously, Bane is intelligent and a powerhouse on his own right, and Punisher is firstly smart enough not to want to fight him and not to choose to fight him in a hand-to-hand encounter unless he absolutely has to. Frank is well enough in martial arts and well enough in fighting techniques and fighting strategy to know a hand-to-hand fight with Bane is not going to be a good idea in any ever situation. So Frank would most definitely take one look at a juiced up on venom Bane and either put a high caliber round through his tubes or straight up through it through his head. Get that done as quickly as possible, just due to the fact that Bane, if he gets his hand on Punisher while he's in his juiced up venom state, Punisher will be gone, and that is a guaranteed. And then once he's most likely taken out, because Punisher will not let Bane be anywhere near him, whether he has to pull a sniper shot, whether he has to just do whatever trick he needs to come up with his sleeve, which, as I said, most likely will just be a sniper shot because he is a very good sniper, as we've kind of already know. So he will find a way to deal with that on that own end. And then with Mr. Freeze, same deal. Punisher has armor-piercing incendiary rounds that would shatter Freeze's suit, and once that happened, Victor Freeze is done. Killer Croc, he's dealt with worse. A couple of grenades, some well-placed sniper shots again, or honestly, anything else, he will figure out a way to just deal with Killer Croc, just due to the singular fact of, in the Marvel Universe, Punisher, yes, is usually dealing with villains like Kingpin and more street-level villains, but he's not completely unused to people that are more on the overpowered side. I think the quickest way for Punisher to deal with somebody like Killer Croc would be shooting tranquilizer darts or just tranquilizer bullets that he could very easily just probably make himself just due to the fact that he's that good with weapons in general into the back of Killer Croc, and then later getting him while he's asleep, either just shoving a grenade down his mouth, getting him gone like that, or just using an extremely high caliber round to get the Killer Croc just done that method, which could be a little more unlikely, but it is not completely out of the question for him to be able to do that, specifically due to the fact that we know he could easily get tranquilizer darts in his own world, and he probably usually has some kind of tranquilizers in general around at some point in time. So I could give this to him maybe more 50% of the time. And that's basically just one of the more iffy ones that I see happening, just due to the fact that him fighting him could possibly go either way. Now, Clayface, however, that's a little trickier. Unlike a lot of like Batman or whatever, like unlike Batman, Frank doesn't have like high containment weapons. He doesn't have all of these extra things that Bruce has to just deal with somebody like Clayface in general. So he'd have to improvise. Maybe blow Clayface apart with explosives. Whether that keeps him down, it's debatable, but Clayface is one of the villains Punisher can't really permanently stop unless he like just does so much extreme research to the point that he figures out, oh, you got to get something cold, just like kind of freeze him down a little bit, or figure out and just do all of the research on Clayface to the point that he figures out exactly what his weakness is, and then find a weapon that would be able to deal with that. As I said, Batman isn't around, and none of the entirety of the Bat family is around, so he doesn't have access to the like Bat cave or whatever, but he does have access to public records. He does have access to the internet that would at least allow him to get some basic information on somebody like Clayface. So he could very easily figure out some way that Clayface has been taken care of before, and then just rework from there to kind of eventually get Clayface gone. So that would be one of the biggest problems. And then somebody like Solomon Grundy, which obviously is a crazy pull because not many people ever talk about Solomon Grundy, but he has the same problem. You can shoot him, blow him up, or whatever, but Grundy just keeps on coming back. At best, Punisher would maybe delay him. At worst, they become Gotham's eternal nightmares. These two are the more annoying ones for Punisher to deal with because everybody else from this point has been either normal humans with just like base extra boosts or whatever, even if we're including somebody like the Riddler or whatever, but they're basically just normal humans that have some kind of abilities, or people like Dr. Freeze, like either people like Mr. Freeze or Killer Croc or whatever that are extremely buffed in specific aspects, like Killer Croc just being Killer Croc or whatever, but they still have a way to get gone. They're not just completely more immune to death than anything else, like Clayface or Grundy, just due to the fact of who they are. So these would be the very two big issues in terms of trying to get them out of the question for the Punisher. So these would be the very big problematic points. Now, we're talking about the Riddler or somebody like Scarecrow. This would be honestly a lot more interesting for me to even consider having Frank go up against, just due to the fact that Scarecrow's fear toxin wouldn't last long on Frank, if I'm being honest. Frank has fought through worse trauma in his life, and once he figures out where Crane is hiding, he is dead. Like, no doubt about it. Frank's entire life has just been nightmares. He has gotten used to living in one. Frank's mind is consistently in turmoil. He's not crazy, but he's always having some kind of thing. So most likely what the fear toxin would show him would be the worst day of his life. Would just be remakes of hallucinations of him either failing his family or whatever, which Frank already has to consistently deal with anyways at any given point in time. So I do not see the fear toxin completely just doing extra work, even due to the fact of, people like Batman or whatever have gotten not even used to the fear toxin, but have been accustomed to fear toxin long enough that they don't always get extremely hit as hard as they would ever. But Frank is a very specific kind of different breed of human, if we're being fair, and I see it kind of affecting him, but not to an extreme extent. As for the Riddler, Punisher does not play games, no riddles, no puzzles. He tracked down Nigma and just put a bullet in him before he could finish his entire monologue. And the main event-ish would be Joker, and he is the big one. The Clown Prince of Crime thrives because Batman won't kill him. But, Frank Castle doesn't have that exact same mercy that Batman has. The second that Joker shows up in general, he's gone. Like, he gets anywhere near Frank, he's gone. He pulls out a gun, a crowbar, even opens his mouth. Punisher will not hesitate. Joker's reign will end with one singular pull of a trigger, and as long as this isn't like death metal universe where Joker has this entire elaborate plan where he has this Joker venom like in his like suit where it will just disperse into kind of a situation where boom, oh, he's going to actively just now turn the Punisher into a Jokerized version of the Punisher, we're fine. Because I don't want to deal with the Jokerized version of the Punisher. That's already scary as its own idea, and I don't want to do that. That could be for another video on how that would go, but that's not today. But the real big problem of Gotham and the real big annoyance that he would have to deal with would be Gotham's corruption. The politicians, the judges, the cops on the take, and everything else like that. Because we all know Batman works around them. Punisher would actively just have to eliminate them all and do whatever he can just in that specific matter. That means the entirety of the power structure in Gotham would very definitely collapse. Because on one hand, this could actually force real change, scaring off criminals, dismantling the mob, and anything else like that, because that's what he would definitely do. The Falcones and the Maronis gone out of the question. But he would also make sure to deal with the very big root of all of the problems in Gotham. The very big thing that I was talking about earlier. The biggest problem in Gotham that really is never going to be able to have Gotham be a good place to live unless they're gone, which would be the Court of Owls. They are the biggest root of all trouble in Gotham because they want Gotham to stay the same. They need Gotham to stay the same. And Punisher would get them gone. The second that he could figure out where, or even learns about their existence, he would figure out a way to kind of just get them all completely eliminated in the most efficient way possible. Whether that's finding where they're meeting and just blowing that entire building up, or just taking as many of them down one by one until they're basically all gone and the Court of Owls is annihilated. He will do that just because the Court of Owls is that much of a stain on Gotham that Gotham can never truly be healed while they are still there. So, could the Punisher end all crime in Gotham? Short term, absolutely. Within months, Gotham's crime rate would be at basically historic lows, and most of its villains would be 6 feet under. But long term, obviously, Gotham, as I've already said, is just basically cursed and cannot be fixed if we're being fair. New criminals would eventually rise in to fill the vacuum, and Punisher can't really just kill an idea, and that is Gotham's entire premise. Basically, just destruction will happen no matter what, and Gotham's madness is almost supernatural. And I say almost because I just want to be nice. That's basically it. And without, Batman's balance, if we're going to say, of justice and fear, the city will just spiral into something even worse because Batman, at least, we have a situation of, oh, he brings them back. But it's basically more so he would rather deal with the evil that he knows than the idea and the chaos of what could possibly follow if he doesn't know what is going to be coming next. So, that's my verdict. Punisher would crush Gotham's crime for a good long while. But he can't end it forever. At best, he buys Gotham a few years of bloody peace. At worst, his war turns the city into a graveyard without ever fixing its soul. But what do you guys think? Could Frank actively finally do what Batman has never been able to do? Or would Gotham chew him up like it does everybody else? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you guys did enjoy this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more content and videos like this, and I'll catch you in the next video. But before I go, I hope you guys, as I said, did enjoy this, and I would like to shout out my boy Comic Fiend for one, giving me the idea to do this video, and just kind of helping me through this a little bit, just so to really get anything like this done. He makes very similar content to me in general, so go check his videos out. I'll link one of his videos down in the description below, so you guys can go check that out. And If you guys maybe want to help and support a brother out, my YouTube memberships are completely open for anybody to join into, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.